creatives, community, kind folks out there. Thank you for joining me. Today is Future Friday, and this week's theme has been mechanics, both dice mechanics, rule mechanics in RPGs, and mechanical effects. We've been very, very vague, somewhat dodging in and around the meta theme of mechanics, but it's something to talk about. Lots of people in the chat always chiming in with their experiences and things like that, and that's what we do here on RPG with DBJ. So we are live, and as usual, I start out slightly awkwardly, but on Future Fridays, we like to talk about modern day science fiction and that kind of thing, mainly because through the rest of the week, we tend to default to more of a medieval kind of thing. Janny, what's going on? Hi. Well, hello there. Nice purple top I see you wearing. No, I'm just joking. Just looking at the icon in the chat. So on Future Fridays, just because one of my favorite subjects is science fiction and modern day gaming, and sometimes it doesn't get the love that it could or should, we like to talk about that. So mechanics and technology in science fiction gaming and modern day gaming. What can we talk about that? Well, one of the biggest questions I've seen happen is that some game masters or dungeon masters or whatever have you feel intimidated because whatever game system they're using has lots of technology in it. And usually the issue with technology is not that it exists. It's the propagation of it, the ubiquity. How expansive is the technology in your game setting, right? So, for example, in a medieval setting, you may have a character who's a wizard, and that wizard can cast spells, but usually the player doesn't have to worry about 87 other people in the village being wizards of comparable levels. They just like, oh, what's the rule for the wizard casting a spell to read someone's mind? Let's look that up. Let's figure that out. And then, after a couple of times, we memorize it. But what's going on there, Rickard? Yeah, it's morning here, not morning everywhere around the world. But thank you. But the issue with technology is how much technology is there, and if everyone has access to a rudimentary amounts of technology, how do you remember it all? How do you use it? Okay. Well, with modern day, it's pretty simple, right? We know we are relatively familiar with most of the technology we have with us today and how it's used, right? Cell phones, automobiles, public transportation, air conditioning, home computers, laptops, televisions, that kind of thing, security cameras. So we know about those things, and so we can refer to them as we wish. Now, if we go a little bit in the past, but still maintain it as a modern setting, 1920s, 1970s, that kind of thing, 1800s, maybe we might have to do a little Wikipedia or Google searching to figure out, like, I know, if you're just doing off the top of your head, you're like, well, I know they don't have cell phones, but how did they communicate with each other in 1850? Did they have Morse code, or did they have telegraphs or something? So you might have to do that. Rickard says access to technology does not a Decker make. Yeah, and definitely Shadowrun and any derivation of cyberpunk is a huge use of technology. But I think one thing that we game masters and players mistake is access to the technology and the skill or intent in using it. So let me give you an example on access to technology. A lot of times, especially like in Cyberpunk and Shadowrun, a player will make a Decker or I don't remember what the title is of the person that controls drones, or teleoperates robots or something like that. The issue is that they're not alone, right? They're not the only person with that technology. So when the computer hacker goes to the corporate office building, it's like, I'm going to hack into their system, and you as a game master say, okay, 3 other hackers in the corporate office notice you. Sometimes player riggers, that's what it's called. Sorry. Thank you, Rigger. And Deadman Code pops in with all the info as well. Ricker and Deadman say rigger or hacker, drone pilot. Yes, the riggers are the ones that control the hackers do the digital infiltration, and then the riggers control mechanical objects like flying drones or rolling drones or climbing drones. Maybe even some of them might even have like weapon systems attached to them. But sometimes it's weird for me to think of this as a player, and maybe this is a session 0, or like, hey, this is what the setting is like. Hey, player, you're not the only one, right? The technology exists, but it's not a singular aspect. Janny says, my problem with Eclipse phase level tech, the unforeseen ways it can be used. And that is an issue too. So not only is there access to technology, and no offense to players, but you're not the only special snowflake, right? A lot of these corporate interests or neighborhoods or governments or criminal organizations and what have you also have access to this technology. And here's the thing, the closer someone is to criminality or violence or illicit use of technology, the greater chance they've seen this before. Right? If you're a hacker trying to break into the database of a major corporation in Shadowrun, they're going to have people hired to multiple people hired to be in their net to take a look around. They're going to have automated drones with security monitoring the drones that are going around the security perimeter. It's going to be there. Now, I'm not saying that players don't have a special set of skills, you know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is the technology does exist. Rickard says, you also have the thing, if you look at modern day tech use, everyone has a computer of sorts. How many actually know how to use their computer on a deeper level? Now that's where skill level comes in, right? So it's not that they don't have access to it, but today, as we speak, most people have at their fingertips all human knowledge, but how many of us could actually perform brain surgery with our cell phones, right? How many of us could, I don't know, decipher an unknown language, or someone is injured after a car accident and have us apply a first aid with our cell phones? Probably not too many people. A, because of not thinking about it, and B, it's the skill level involved. I could read up on brain surgery all I want. I don't have the skill to perform brain surgery, even if I learn the words and see the pretty pictures, right? So there is skill level, and skill level basically mechanically in the game represents, die rolls. Hey, I've got a +7. I've got an 87% chance. I've got a dice pool of 7d6 or something, whereas the average human might only have like a 2d6 die pool, or has a -3 or whatever. So that's where the mechanical the rules come into effect, and also not just the mechanical rules, but the in-world use. So, for example, going back to the corporate headquarters and breaking into the corporate headquarters to free the scientist that has the explosive neck brace on, and you've got to extract this scientist. The corporation may say, okay, well, we're not really expecting anyone to come into our building from the rooftop, but we sure are expecting someone to come in through the front door or over the gates, right? So they may. It's not that the guards are experts and they have +17. It could be, what we're used to we're used to, I don't know, picketers and hacktivists trying to come at us through one particular method. But if the players are using something unique, or they're coming into the building through another method, they might not be used to it, and so you might catch them uh, off guard. But I do want to bring up the eclipse phase level technology as well. But going back to into the chat. Hey, Mythos, what's up? Dead Man the Storyteller says brain surgery does not have pretty pictures. Okay, maybe that's not true. Yeah, I took a class on human anatomy, and because I wanted to find, it was just something in college that I wanted to learn about the human body, the muscular system and skeletal system and all that kind of stuff. And there's some photographs of real things. And mind you, this is of course all scientifically based. That's pretty horrible. It sticks in your brain pretty hard. I can imagine it would be too nice to have a bunch of people in a movie theater pulling out their cell phones trying to figure out how to do brain surgery, and half of them are just like going like, oh, what's an image? Oh, that person's skin is pulled back. Rickard says, but the majority of people wouldn't even understand how to read up on brain surgery, or in terms of tech, they might not know how to use a cell phone, but they might know how to use a cell phone, but they won't be able to follow a manual to hack it. Exactly. So yes, people have, cell phones and security cameras and things like that. But again, skill and the unique ability to use that skill is a thing. So like I said, the closer you get to people who are around violence and criminality, and the more illicit or fringe-worthy people get with technology, the greater skill they're going to have. So your average, for example, your average corporate wage slave or something, they don't know anything about what the player character is going to do. But the closer you get to wanting to break into the mainframe of their corporate headquarters, they're going to be prepared for that, right? So on one hand, it might be very easy to say, I'm going to slip and this is how hackers have done it before. I'm going to slip a thumb drive into the pocket of your average corporate wage slave, who reaches in their pocket, finds the thumb drive and goes, I'm going to take this into work and plug it in, right? Walking through security and everything, drinking their coffee, talking to their friends, spreading gossip, and then they plug it in their computer, not thinking about it. Whereas a real computer hacker is like, whoa, I've never seen this thumb drive before. And we know how people try to hack things. I'm not just going to plug it into some old random computer. I'm going to hold it off to the side. But bringing up, Rickard brings up, so even eclipse phase tech is a lot of, I know how to use this for this use case. Yes, and one thing I think sometimes, just because we play when we play science fiction role playing games, usually the entire world is open up to us, right? Let's take eclipse phase, because it's really wild, right? So a player character can play an uplifted gorilla or an uplifted pig. They can play a swarm. They can play a digital life form. They can have cybernetics or be biogenetically enhanced, having different types of DNA and breathing underwater, or be an uplifted dolphin that's in the form of a cybernetic body. And okay, great, right? But that's because the rules themselves present to us all the options that the players have. Because honestly, the players are the special snowflakes. They are the one-offs. They are the individuals who go above and beyond because they're special. That does not necessarily mean the setting has everything in it all the time, everywhere, right? So, for example, let's take you're in a zero-G habitat floating around Mars. There's no reason that 6 uplifted dolphins and an uplifted octopus with a, you know, 2 scientists in an arachnoid body plus, you know, 6 human beings that are splicers and 1 who's like some kind of like paragon. Like all those things do not need to be included into one small habitat of 5,000 people floating around in orbit around Mars. We have technology today and we have access to most things today, but culturally, location wise, monetarily, government wise, everyone does not have everything everywhere all the time. There are reasons why technology wouldn't be there. It could be for religious reasons. It could be for practical reasons. We don't need it here. We live on a space station and we don't need armored defense systems walking around inside of our space habitat. We've got point defense systems outside, and that's all we really need. You know, it could be cultural. We don't want modified or genetically modified human beings on our space station, right? If you don't look human, we don't want you here. That could be a thing as well. It could be financial. We can't afford rail guns, or you know, yeah. Rickard says tech isn't free, right? You got to pay for it some kind of way, and if it's not money, you got to pay for it with favors. You got to pay for it from the black market. You have to pay for it with loyalty to a government. You have to pay for it by being indebted to a criminal organization. You've got to pay for it through skill and experience. Sure, that high tech habitat may have scientists on it, but are any of them skilled in paramilitary tactics? Could they be? Sure, but they're probably pretty smart about it. But will they be? No, because we're doing deep space scans. We're not interested in you know, cyborg soldiers and whatnot. So I think sometimes, because okay, let's compare this to medieval gaming, right? When players want to pick up the Dungeons and Dragons book and they want to make a character, everything is available for them. I want to play a tiefling. I want to play a drow elf. I want to play a dwarf. And someone else is like, I'll be a bard. I'll be a sorcerer. I'll be a warlock, right? Because they are the one-offs. They're the special snowflakes in this world. But when we talk about the setting, the game master can say, hey, in this city, in this town, in this region, they don't like these people, or they don't exist. Dragonborn, you can begin a game by saying, hey, this is session 0. Dragonborn do not exist in my world, or they are evil. You cannot play one, right? So in science fiction, you can do that as well. Mithos says, or in Rifts, you can pay in universal credits, in terms of paying for technology. But here's the other thing. Someone doesn't have to take your money either. Just because something in a game has a value to it, monetary value or resource value, you get the roll to see if it's there. I mean, you get the roll to see if you can obtain it. There's no reason that you can buy a railgun on a space habitat. It doesn't need to be there. And as a game master in your world, you don't have to include that in your world. So, or not just in your world, but in that particular location. So like in Rifts is this weird, strange post-apocalyptic world in those big city states, Chi-Town or Chi-Town or whatever it is, Chicago surrounded, and a bunch of other major cities are in these walled cities with cyborgs and stuff. Sure, they're in those big cities, but when you leave, there's no reason that you can go to an open market and buy any kind of technology you want. If people start firing shots out of their railgun, who's to say that extra ammo is available when they go to Florida or Madagascar or Greenland or something like that? It doesn't have to be there. Yeah, Mythos says exactly. Maybe the shop has short supplies. And why I say these things, it's not to, of course, players are going to go, oh, balk at the idea. You're nerfing my character. That's a big thing. You're nerfing my character. But that's where complications come in, right? Hey, yes, my giant mech can shoot 16 brilliant guided missiles, but to get those 16 missiles back, maybe I've got to go on an adventure or find a certain contact or go to a specific locale. Maybe there's a hidden bunker under the Colorado mountains where an old military base was at, and you have to pay for the information to find out where it is, and then travel to go there to get those missiles to reload your mecha. But maybe that's an adventure in and of itself. So getting ammo, finding a place to repair your equipment, those things are possibilities. Also, we can go to the extreme, not the extreme, we can go to the other end as well. A big major city may have access to those things. And if they have access to those things, they probably also have access to limiting those things. Police with like neural inhibitors or something that can attach them to your cyber arm. So when you come into a city, they might attach this magnetic thing to the outside of your arm or your wrist or something. You're like, what the hell is this? And the cops might look at you with like a snide look on their face, like, this is to make sure you don't get in trouble, right? Or you go through a scan, and that hidden firearm you've always had in that cyber leg, yeah, they can see it in that scan. We've got 3 million people living here. Don't think that we don't know that there's gangs with like cybernetics that are hiding like military weaponry inside their bodies. We know what it is. Hand over the weapon. If you want it when you leave, sure, but we're going to hold on to it for a while, right? That kind of thing. So Mythos says, no, it's realistic. Sometimes shops don't have what you need, or someone isn't skilled enough to fix or repair or modify what you need. And yes, in real life, you can go into a store and go, hey, do you have that black tea in 2XL? Because I'm a big fatty. And they go like, yeah, we got the black tea, but medium size is the only thing we have, right? You can go someplace and go, hey, you got any 7.62 rounds for my automatic weapon? They're like, nah, we've only got 50 cals. And you're like, oh man, when are you going to get it in? Next Wednesday when it flies in on the back of that dragon, But yes, there is a chance that maybe a shop doesn't have it, or you have to go to a related shop to go get it, or hey, that's a dangerous thing. We don't keep it in here. You've got to go across town to our warehouse to go get it. Or we have it hidden in the outback because we know how dangerous it is and the authorities might find it. So sure, you can buy it from us, but we're going to have to jump through some hoops for you to get it. And that in itself could be its own story, its own complication, and that's cool. Mythos says, also, if you have money and in game time and connection, maybe you can get it, right? And like I said, that may be its own story. That might even be its side story. Or you could give players a tough choice. Okay, you can go after the bad guy now because he's getting away, and you can chase him down. Or you can wait and get your reload and get your supplies, but that'll give the bad guy 8 hours headway, which will allow them to, get reinforcements. What do you want to do? Do you want to wait, or do you want to go now? If you wait, you can resupply and get all your ammo, and yay! But your enemy might be entrenched somewhere, or you can get him now while he's at his whatever. Make a decision, guys, and go with it. Let the players choose. Jenny says, in a post-apocalyptic setting, you can create an entire campaign around finding a spare part for your car. And I have to say that the draw for a lot of post-apocalyptic style gaming is that, right? That is the joy. Whereas as opposed to a game where I'm going to get yet one more cybernetic implant, or playing a game where I get yet one more magic item, or I gain more spell abilities, post-apocalyptic gaming tends to fall into the camp of, yay, I get to eat a meal and survive one more day, right? Or, wow, I found a gas can with 5 gallons of gas. I can actually drive for 30 miles today. I actually found shelter without the enemy outside, whether it's like aliens or zombies or roving, crazy biker gangs or something, right? Post-apocalyptic setting is in and of itself, the reward is, like you say, Janny, finding a spare part for your car, finding spark plugs or tires that aren't blown out, or finding that one car after trying 1,000 cars that actually runs after it's been the World War III, or the post-apocalypse has hit the world, after the asteroid impacted the oceans or whatnot. So yes, everything is not always available for everyone. And the same goes for when players start really one-offing their characters, right? Rifts is a perfect example of this, where one player is some kind of psychic wizard, and another player is a cyborg knight, and another player is an alien from another dimension or whatnot. And when they really start diverging off of that, sure, two characters could be cyborgs. One could be just a normal human who is like some kind of cyborg soldier that's been living on Earth through this post-apocalypse, and the other character could be from an alien dimension, but one character might have fairly good access to their equipment and repairs. Hey, I've got an Earth type gun. I'm going to an Earth-like settlement, and I'm going to talk to human beings that are used to, repairing my cybernetic arm. But the alien may not be able to find someone to, help them out. Hey, they speak a different language. Their cybernetic parts are using different technologies. Maybe it has a different power source. Their weapons, maybe that blaster cannon on their back, they ran out of ammo, and they're going to have to figure out, go back to the enclave where these aliens did arrive on Earth just to get more ammo. Whereas the human being is like, dude, here, take my automatic rifle, that kind of thing. So Mythos says, also a shopkeeper could give you a quest to get it. Right, where Mythos is bringing up the fact of like finding a spare part for a car. Like a shopkeeper could go, yeah, I know where to find spare parts. It's over that mountain range, through that desert, across that swamp. You know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't have to be that dramatic, but it could be, there could be in a post-apocalyptic setting, there could be 200 miles of junk and debris from a major battle, and where trash has just been dumped from a portal in the sky or something, and people live in this big trash heap, and just finding the right pieces of equipment to build what you want is out there. Also, you can play with not just availability, but reliability. Maybe a player character is smart enough to build a gun out of junk, but it only lasts for a short amount of time. Or the player characters buy something, they could buy it at regular price on the black market, or they can buy it at 5 times the price, but they have to buy it legally, right? So maybe the black market item is a little unreliable, or it was stolen, or it's traceable, whereas buying the legal item, it might be registered, or there might be, like, again, it might be a tracer unit inside of it, or you need to spend far more money, like 5 times the normal cost, to buy it on the legal open market. But now they know who you are and who purchased it from, a legal entity. And using modern day today, you can go to a legal gun shop, go inside, get your background checked, go buy a firearm. That firearm has, well, at least here in the States, that firearm has identifying, serial numbers on it. You can go home, lock it up, and do whatever you want. Thank you very much for the super chat there. Me, those halftime, ding, 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 ding. Oh, you got it. So now that we're at the halftime report, what do you think about this, Jennings? But anyway, so when it comes to technology, I feel like we don't really, if we're going to use a high tech world, just like you playing Rifts, you don't need to include everything all the time, everywhere, ad infinitum, right? You're fine, and thank you very much. You don't, it's not necessary, but I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Super chat. It's like a tip in a tip jar. I really love it. Vincent says, sorry I'm late. It's all right, man. We were just talking about adding in and using technology in our modern and sci-fi games. So, oh yeah, the Orville. Oh man, what a great show. That's another thing too, is your session 0, or at least as the players explore your world, set up the rules for your world. And so here's what I mean. Like, if the players travel to a certain galaxy, let's say, or they travel to a certain island in your game world, and there's high technology, and they see a city or something, give to them the parameters of that world. Let them know that maybe there's a quarantine, and they have a lot of technology that scans for diseases and infestations and nanotechnology and viral outbreaks or something. That way, if one player is a specialist on that, and they carry around with them a ton of vials that are like biomorphic, things, maybe they might not want to go into the city, or they need to hide those items. Maybe a city's patrolled by massive cyborg soldiers or something like that. Foreshadow the fact that maybe defenses are up, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're looking for the player characters. Maybe they're in a state of war or panic, or some major disaster has happened, and so security is on high alert, not necessarily looking for the player characters, but on high alert for some other act. And the player characters need to watch out for it. Maybe this major high-tech city has been attacked by an alien armada or something like that. And so they're on the lookout for any evidence of the energy signature from these alien weapons. So one of the player characters is like, ooh, I better hide my blaster rifle. They might think if I fire this blaster rifle, it might detect the blast signature, and the security will come running thinking that I'm part of this alien armada, right? So you can play with security and the aspects of the world when the players travel from place to place, without having to really list every single thing in the game everywhere they go. It's not necessary. Vincent says, what I don't understand about the super strong race, wouldn't all items be super heavy or super durable for human standards? Oh yeah, you're talking about like the heavy gravity people having heavy gravity items, or like the alien races with where they've got like I'm gonna make up something like ultiminium, the adamantium, the unobtainium materials. Like, why would they for human standards, like how could they break those things? Yeah, that is a thing, unless of course, I don't know, maybe the alien race needed to create things that are disposable because they have to create them on a massive scale or something. I don't know. I agree with you, but then in a way, Rifts actually does that, because in the Rifts games they have MDC, mega damage, and mega damage probably is their way of saying, yeah, humans have finally learned from everybody else, because our stuff sucked when it was SDC. Now it's MDC. Dead Man the Storyteller says, Septerra Core, an older PC RPG game set on a multi-ring world. Multi-ring world? I'm meaning like multiple rings, like more than one ring as a ring world, or one ring with multiple locations in it. I don't remember of a Septerra Core. Neither says, I've already told them about Rifts, a harsh world, but also fair. Also, there's also there's almost too many options, and they like that. Yeah, there are too many options on purpose in like Rifts and Eclipse Phase. I mean, there's a ton of options, but that doesn't mean the world itself has a ton of options all the time everywhere. And actually that makes it kind of interesting, right? So for example, when the players go to in our world, let's say, right, when you go to Japan in the modern day, it's different than going to England, which is different than going to Chile, which is different than going to Norway, right? There's going to be a difference, and then there will be similarities. McDonald's will probably be one of those similarities, right? But on the other hand, the language, the dress, the cultural impact of it, the food, hell, automobiles, those things will be different. And so why not have those differences with technology, with culture, with the police, that kind of thing. Dante says an alien display screen might not show in human visible light spectrum. That would be funny and a cool challenge. Oh yeah. Imagine going on into a spaceship and it's completely dark. And the aliens are like, no, we're sensitive to, to extreme amounts of UV radiation or something like that. The player characters are like, I can't pilot this spaceship. Maybe there's a spaceship where you have like monkey feet, where you have hands where your feet should be, and the human pilot jumps into the seat and they're just like, oh, it's one of those spaceships. Darn it, I can't control this thing. I get a minus 10%, or something like that, right? Vince says, yeah, in the Orville, they tested the gravity on their planet and it crushed a metal item instantly. But now she has items from her homeworld, and I wonder what they would need to be made of. Exactly. They played with that on the Orville, right? They take the shuttle down to the high gravity world, and that was part of the joke, right? Took a tin can or aluminum can, threw it out of the I guess the shuttle's energy field. And when it fell in their heavy gravity, it crushed on the ground immediately. So you could set up situations where, yeah, the aliens have different, they hear in a different spectrum. They see in a different spectrum. Things are shaped differently. I always wondered why in Dungeons and Dragons, like dwarves and gnomes and halflings don't have to have human-sized doors or chairs or beds or even caverns, right? You're gonna have to duck your head. That's the Gandalf bumping his head against the chandelier, right? It doesn't. Yeah, prehensile feet. Thank you, Dead Man. Thank you. I was about to be like monkey hands. That doesn't make any monkey feet. That doesn't make any sense. But yes, but having prehensile feet might be a thing. There could be uplifted in Eclipse phase. There's uplifted marsupial types, gorillas and bonobos and such, and there's human beings that have prehensile feet as well. Why not have a habitat and spacecraft and things like and fashion that's designed around their needs? And the other beings that are on that world are just like, or in that space habitat, might not be able to control something that requires 3 physical hands from the same controller to use it because they're using their feet to do it, right? Or there might not even be places to walk. There might only be handholds. When people go to dinner, there is no floor. There's just a place to eat and a place for you to grab onto a bar with your feet, and you just sit there eating, right? That's a possibility. Mythos says the idea I said suit up when going out, but in town I plan on having the checkpoints, say no weapons or armor in city limits, maybe even reward them with access after doing a lot to help said cities. Yes, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, in modern day, the police and authorities have the right to pull you over if you're dressed in body armor. In modern day, if you're dressed up in Kevlar, bulletproof vest, and you're a private citizen, they can question you because part of the thing is like, well, wait a minute, why are you dressed for a gunfight? Right? Hey, I have no deadly weapons on me. I just have on police, or military grade body armor. And the police might be looking at you like, why are you dressed in body armor? Are you expecting something? Is there something we need to know? Because you walking around in a, I don't know, bomb disposal suit just because you can afford one doesn't make sense, right? So sometimes player characters sometimes walking around with like heavy weapons and cybernetics and like magic items and dragons hanging over their shoulders with their cyber eyes scanning everything might draw more attention to them than a little bit just by the way they're dressed. The medieval adventurers walking in the town draw lots of attention, and I know player characters like, well, my character's a dragonborn paladin. Well, I don't know why people would be scared of him because you're a dragonborn and you're dressed like a paladin. You know what I mean? Without context, but people be like, you got a big, what's that? Why is there a half man, half dragon walking around with a 6-foot greatsword? You know what I mean? I don't care that he's got silver skin and golden armor, that's kind of scary. Going back to the chat, Mythos says that's how I'll deal with MD. Yeah, mega damage. Yeah, because you might have to put your armor and weapons away. And like you said, if they help out these cities, maybe the authorities are like, I'm glad you're here. here's your weapons back, right? Here's your armor back because you helped us out. And right, you earn it. You earn the access. And sure, maybe if they go to a neighboring city, they don't have the same, they may not have the same greetings. They might still look at them like, I don't trust you. I know the other city thinks you're heroes, but we don't trust you. So absolutely, I would absolutely add that in the game. It makes perfect sense. Vincent says, how do you sit on a chair made for octopus races? You don't, right? Unless you particularly like that feeling in your rectal area, maybe you don't. And also, what would a keyboard look like for a tentacled race? Would they actually use regular keyboards? That'd be kind of weird. Or even piloting a ship, that'd be awesome to figure that out, but it'd be sweet. Vincent says in Astrocetus, there are ships filled with breathable water. Oh, you mean like human oxygen breathers can breathe water? I love that kind of stuff, but that's cool. And Metho says, I warned them that that a mega damage laser pistol can kill an unarmored player. Yeah, you gotta let them know about that. Ooh. Deadman says neo-avian style restaurants. Worms and birdseed? Maybe insects? I think I listened to a podcast at one time. They were talking about in space, instead of like beef and pork and chicken, we might be getting a lot of our protein from insects. So that might be a thing in the future where people are eating insects, and those of us that are not used to that will be like, oh, where everyone else is just eating like live or maybe dead or poached or steamed beetles. That might be kind of cool. Jenny says, perhaps the local government has the power to turn off your cybernetics. Yeah, that is a thing, right? That absolutely positively may be a thing. Or maybe a player character came from an organization and they're used to having their freedom, but when they return back to that organization, maybe that organization has the off switch. If you were a cyber knight from the Space Rangers and you've since left their organization, and sure, they haven't said anything to you, but when you return back into their protectorate, they may look at you like, dude, you've been gone for 8 years. Here's the off switch. Click. But yes, a local government may have the power to turn off your cybernetics, especially if you try to pry off that little magnetic attachment to that cyber arm you have, right? You try to pry it off, it might not just alert them, it might even deaden your arm. And of course, maybe they can track you or track its use to ensure that you are not committing crimes with the cyber arm because, hey, we've seen people like you here before and we don't want trouble with you. So that could be a thing. Absolutely. Jenny says that was one of the themes in Deus Ex Human Revolution. The Deus Ex video game series. I have one of those, yes. And in it, it has a lot to do with cybernetics and being the main character and improving your cybernetic systems and having corporations that build cybernetic systems, and then of course they have the power to the back door. They've got the key to unlock your cybernetics, either seeing through your cybernetic systems, monitoring you. So when you use that cyber eye to look into the infrared, they could be tracking it or recording it, or they know when you're using it or something. That'd be possible. Oh, nasty. I'm not going to read that. Tesla Ranger. Wow. Oh. Mythos says they're fine with it. In fact, they like the idea of dress and prepare for the occasion, which of course allows you to tell different stories, right? It's James Bond wearing the tuxedo to go into the dinner theater. I mean, or the casino or something, right? You can't always be special forces all the time, every day. Sometimes you got to dress for the nines and dress for the occasion. And if that means getting out of your power armor and dressing in comfortable clothing to question people on the street and not look conspicuous, sure. And why not tell those stories? It allows certain characters to shine. Your armored up cybernetic pilot shines at one point, but then your sweet talking, charismatic face of the group gets to shine somewhere else. So yeah, Vince says, yeah, air breather can breathe it. It's pretty nasty. At first, it feels like drowning the first time. Isn't don't we have something like that that's supposed to help deep sea divers, and it feels like you're drowning because the liquid, although it brings oxygen to your lungs, your body is rejecting the fact that it's drawing in this fluid down into your lungs. Yeah, Vince says, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's pretty nasty, and I wouldn't want to do it. I know it exists. I know it's a real thing. Yeah, they used it for the movie The Abyss. Not John Carpenter. Wow. James Cameron. James Cameron's The Abyss. They used it for that. I believe that was a real the scene. Ed Harris actually puts on an outfit, and that scene was real. He actually really did breathe in that liquid and stuff. So it's pretty nasty. But like zero G, the human body should not be breathing liquids, and in zero G, the human body should not be falling eternally. You know, that's why people throw up in zero gravity. Rickard says, squid keyboard. I'm imagining something like the Orbitouch, but with one wheel for each tentacle. Okay, all right. Oh, so you mean like almost like I don't know what the Orbitouch is. So you're talking like a circle or maybe like a hemisphere, maybe that tentacles will move around or modify or something. I don't know. Because like I use my mouse, let me see if I can pull this up. Like I use a mouse that has where it sits still, but it's got the orbital ball in it. And you just I just use my fingertips to roll the ball. So you could have a larger one of these that has multiple touch surfaces. So you could roll it and then touch it and roll it and touch it in different patterns to achieve what you want. So you might have, if you touch it 3 different locations, it has one thing or something, and you can make real giant balls or something, whatever. Okay. Vince says, this cybernetics thing reminds me of Rick and Morty. Cybernetic scanner on each ship, and if you get violent, your brain's aggression centers get shut off by drugs for the travel. Now, players might not want that, but that is a thing, right? Where you could have, if the players get captured or they're questioned by the authorities, they may have to wear something on their wrist or around their neck that maybe injects something or zaps them or explodes or shuts down their cybernetic systems or invades into their cerebral cortex or something to drown out their more aggressive impulses. So that could be a thing as well. Hey, everyone that comes into the city gets one of these pieces of rice injected into the side of their neck, and it monitors where they go and what they do. That's a possibility as well. Mythos says, doesn't mean attacks or ambushes won't happen in town. For example, criminals may ambush my players, especially the cybernetic ones. Black market prices on cybernetics may be worth murder. Absolutely. Organ leggers may be coming after the player characters. And even if those enemies in the cities don't have mega damage stuff, that's the whole point of why they are a threat in the city. All the mega damage things are held outside the city, but in the city, the cyborg, criminals dominate. It's kind of a strange dichotomy, right? It's like, hey, if I had my mega damage stuff, I could blow these people away, but using them in the city isn't necessary. It doesn't behoove the police to walk around with that stuff. So maybe the gangs roam rampant, or maybe the gangs are allowed to roam rampant because the police are already worried about keeping the enemies at the gates. Worrying about the stuff in the gates isn't really their problem anymore. So yeah, I could see that. Rickard says the Orbitouch is a keyboard where you use two wheels and make combination moves to right. So left hand up and right hand down might be A. Oh, I get it. Oh, okay. So it's not a 1-for-1. It is like using a series of gestures to type as opposed to clicking something that says the letter A. Yeah, I get it. Vince says Orbitouch is a special keyboard where you type by moving 2 plates in specific patterns. And so it would almost be like learning a new language, a new three-dimensional language. So moving things up, down, left, right, forward, back in various combinations thereof would create something, would be able to type out something. And so Deadman says Google Orbitouch to see images of it. Maybe I will. I'll get a little top-headed here. Or Orbitouch. Here we go. And let's see some images here. Bam! I see it. There we go. That's kind of cool. It's like a two-handed mouse idea, and I would have to see some videos and see how it's used. But I don't know why I haven't heard of that. I'm in the geekosphere. Maybe I'm losing. I need my geek membership back. Yeah, Mythos says, I will make it known just because you're in town. You don't make it known just because you're in town doesn't make you safe. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Vince says, I thought Octopi would have 6 giant joysticks with keyboards on it. Yeah, 6 because 2 of the tentacles are technically feet. Yeah, that's the thing too. Hey, you got multiple arms. You have multiple abilities to control something. So I can't imagine piloting a spacecraft that requires the use of 6 joysticks to do it. But yeah. Mythos says, you misunderstand me. The criminals are after the parts or organs, like you said. Yeah. No. I get it. Like the criminals themselves could be going after the player characters to harvest them, the player characters, for their stuff, right? Yeah, the player character that thinks he's a badass with his cyber arm might get, those guys might try to hack it off. Oh, I get it. Yeah, absolutely. Organ legging is when I say organs, it could be biological organs or cybernetic organs or something. Yeah, that's a huge thing in Cyberpunk and Shadowrun. It's not necessarily a good profession to get into for player characters, but you never know. A lot of player characters like to be sociopaths and psychopaths. So yeah. Rickard says, I think the Orbitouch thing might be a bit of a squirrel. I absolutely squirreled. Vince says, learning the Orbitouch takes a couple hours. It is great for people who can't type normally. Oh, and of course for people who have particular disabilities, maybe even just severe dyslexia, maybe learning it that way might be even better. Mythos, oh yeah, and learning the Orbitouch takes a couple hours. Can't type normally. Maybe you have a difficulty with manual dexterity as well, or maybe injuries or some neurological effect where you're unable to effectively type or move or something like that, and maybe you can't verbalized dictation might not be effective as well. Maybe it's awkward or they don't have access to it. Mythos says, not that they're cyborgs. I mean, some might be. It depends on where they go, right? One city could have cyborgs. Others could be alien DBs harvesting people, or ghouls going after, harvesting organs for, dead bodies and stuff like that. Dante says, off to work, by the way, nice necklace. Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, I live it, breathe it. You know what I mean? Mythos says, had to do an evil DM laugh. Yeah, you gotta practice it too. I'm getting haggard. I don't know if I could ever grow the handlebar mustache. I probably need a lot of oil to do it, but you got to do that. You got to like rub the hands. It's like Rickard says we all get squirreled. Yeah, exactly. Muses, who knows? Maybe my players want an evil run. Don't know if they start making characters or side stalkers. Yeah. That's a little squirrely thing of me. One of my pet peeves are player characters that are like, yeah, let's play this game. And then they devolve into sociopaths and psychopaths, wanting to murder and torture things all over the place. And I get role playing is an escapist, but I would rather people say that up front, like, oh, by the way, can I play a character that's a complete, psychopath and sociopath that likes to, I don't know, torture every and any NPC around, rather than pretend like you're playing a serious game and then dive into those things. Vince says, I will miss these sessions. I hope you keep going. Maybe I will have time to join in every once in a while. Yes. Good luck with your new employment endeavor, and I will definitely be here. I don't see anything on the horizon preventing me from doing these. Like, I don't, like, psychologically, I don't feel myself going, oh my God, I'm so tired of this. Like, I haven't gotten to that point, or rather, I don't feel anything pushing me to that point, right? Like, because going live like 5 days, well, actually, I'll end up doing it 6 days, but no, this is like my coffee in the morning. Mythos says, I will be severely punishing out of character actions. Well, be careful about severely punishing them. Give them a couple of warnings, or at least do the reassess. Like, hey guys, listen. I thought we agreed we would play the game this way. You know, come to a consensus, right? Hey, we said we were going to play this way. If we plan on changing this to this other thing, are we agreeing we're moving? And of course, I'm not saying it for you. I'm saying it for you, as in us, as in the collective, for people who might be listening in or watching this. Like, if your game changes directions, whether it's the tone, the aspects of the game, whether people start joking around because instead of being serious, or they start taking it more seriously, and we thought this would just be beer and pretzels or something like that. Just picking a point and going, hey, hold on, let's wait a minute. Pizza's here. We're going to get something to eat. Guys, do we want to change this? I don't mind changing it, but if we all agree to change this, let's change the direction. And if they all go, yeah, let's change it. Or, you know what? That was my fault. I didn't mean to start making jokes, man. I'm sorry. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, Dead Man the Storyteller says at least the next 8 months. Referring to Vince, yeah. Yeah, guys, I will always be here as long as I can. The only times I won't be here are probably vacations. I don't know, holidays. I'm still here. This is my gaming group, so so I can't lose you. I don't know how to quit you. That's Brokeback Mountain, guys, if you didn't catch that one. But anyway, Mythos is also, maybe a character can go through a psychological change. Now, here's something adding to that before we get out of here. Characters going through psychological changes, alignment changes, behavioral changes. When it comes to high technology and going to different places, I would absolutely allow players to make changes to their characters, especially if it makes a lot of sense. It is, you know, players are going to want certain rewards and reward them for doing certain things, whether that means high-tech implants or modifications or access to equipment or favors or connections to important people, or added, and Dead Man went right where I was about to go. Psychosurgical changes. Yes, psychosurgical changes, especially Eclipse Phase. Eclipse Phase is filled. It is a role-playing game based around psychosurgery and surgical changes, talking about things like loss of memory, or memories that you know, having a game end where the players go on a mission. Mythos says, like I said, I want to reward character actions. You know, mind over matter implants are a thing as well. Exactly. Could you imagine having a game, players go on a mission, blow away the bad guy, get the MacGuffin at the end, open up the MacGuffin, could be like a computer program, and it's all of the player characters with a recorded message saying that if you found this message, please destroy it, drop everything you're doing, and run for it now. Right? And the players are like, what the hell? We left ourselves a message? And then you know, the fit hits the shan, right? It is the Arnold Schwarzenegger do not do androids dream of electric sheep. Oh, whatever. Anyway, it's the idea that, you know, the player characters themselves have modified their own minds and their own memories to put them on a path to find something, to then be notified by themselves that they shouldn't have gone down this path in the first place. Yeah, Total Recall. Have a split personality character. Yeah, because the whole point of Total Recall is Arnold Schwarzenegger's character was the bad guy, or Colin Farrell's character, whatever. But the whole point was he was the bad guy. He agreed, and it depends on whether you think this was fake or real, which is the whole point, right? Gianni says 2 weeks. What happens in I'm confused. 2 weeks? 8 months? I'm lost there. But yes, the point was he went undercover to uncover a interstellar conspiracy on Mars for these underground revolutionaries. Oh, it was a reference to the movie. In 2 weeks. What happens in 2 weeks? Am I missing something? Did I miss? I can't. No. Let's see. Captain Marvel opens this weekend, and then which movie? Come on, give me. I'm stupid. I'm not getting it. So, but having what's the way to say this? I absolutely would allow players to change their characters, even if it seems somewhat major, especially if they're just starting out, when certain pieces of technology or what have you are not available to them. Gianni, I think you're in a different part of the world, because Captain Marvel, and I got my Captain Marvel t-shirt, and I'm going to see it this weekend. If it opens in 2 weeks where you're at, absolutely, hell yeah. And they said, no, in Total Recall, Arnold gets busted in customs when his face mask glitches. Yeah. Oh, okay. Ooh. Come on. 2 weeks? How long are you staying on Mars? 2 weeks? I love that. I know that the special effects were cheesy, but for its time, it was really crazy. Yeah, like 2 weeks, 2 weeks. That was an awesome scene where the face mask just goes like opens up and like. Oh, right now I know it's cheesy, but for its time, it was sweet. It was really sweet. Oh man, I missed that. I wished I really wish the newer movie was as good, but it just wasn't. Yeah. Vince says, looking forward to Captain Marvel. I hate these controversies. Kind of stupid, really. Like, why wouldn't you? I don't get it, But anyway, hit the hour mark, guys. Have a good one. I'm going to say goodbye to the wife, baby.
Bye. Love you.
Love you, baby. Thank you. Love you. So yeah, before we get out of here, I just have to say, like, why are we I don't know why we're big giant man babies, but whatever. Rickard says, when are you streaming on Sunday? It'll be 7 in the morning, 7 to like 9. It'll probably be a 2-hour stream. And stuff. Mythos says, thoughts on my comment. Or have an evil player. Sorry. Let me go back up. Yeah, Undo said Total Recall as well. Mythos says, or have an evil player get amnesia in backstory, thus becoming good, but have the effects of where backstories have ripples in the world. Right. So the player, okay, here's a cool story, right? Player character makes up good player. I mean, player makes a character that has good intentions. Hey, I'm a good guy. I'm going around. I'm saving people. I'm doing really cool things, to find out that all along they were evil and set themselves up to join the good guys. And that when other people see them, they realize that they are actually the bad guy, and the players don't know that they were actually the bad guy. Right. So yeah, exactly. Vince says, goodbye, DBJ. Keep up the good work. I'll miss joining these sessions. If it's okay, I will write you about stuff I am doing. For the record, please contact me with the stuff that you're writing. I will be here. I have no intentions of going anywhere, and I love what I'm doing. So yeah, all that kind of stuff. Dead Man says 1 hour later than standard. That is correct. Sunday, I am doing the page through review of Invisible Sun, the PDF. Basically, I am neither stroking nor shitting on Monty Cook. The whole point is, what the hell is Invisible Sun? So I'm sure there's haters out there that are just like, it's too freaking expensive. I don't know why he made it. It's a stupid game. And there's others that are like, Monty Cook is the shit, and I bow before him. This won't be either of those, because I don't know what Invisible Sun is. I've listened to and seen a bunch of videos, and it's still not clear. So I was like, well, I'll buy the PDF. It's $100, which it's not one PDF. It's a ton of files. But that's the thing, right? How about we arm ourselves with information, see if we like the game. I'm estimating 2 hours, but I'm pretty sure with as many files, the game, I'm thinking at least 3 or 4 Sundays to fully go through all the files and stuff. Pretty quickly too. I mean, it's a ton of crap. So yeah. Going into the chat, should be able to make it. Thank you. Dead Man and Rickard say you should be able to make it. Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm going to go live, but I'm aware, you know, Sunday mornings, it's 5 days a week is enough. I'm not expecting a lot of people to join in, but if you have questions or like, hey, DBJ, can you go back and zoom in on that? Or what does this mean? Or what have you? Yes. And I want to show people what it is. So yeah, the reminder should be in a list of videos. It is public now, and the reminder is listed right now. So it is public. So it is out there. Vince says, did you read it already? Just flipping through will not be helpful, or will it? Every night I'm reading it. I'm reading about 15, 20 pages at a time. It's a pretty easy read, but I haven't read the whole thing, because the intro to the document actually tells you what steps you need to go through to do it. So that's part of it as well, right? The game actually tells you where to start and where to finish. So it's like, read this, read this part. Now pull this out. Now read this part of the book. Now, when you do this, now go to this part. So it actually takes you step by step through the game to learn it. And that's how I'm reading it. I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about this. Let me start where they say to start. And it gives you those steps. So yes. Rickard says, I'm out of town DJing, a gig starting at 9 your time, but 7, I should be able to make it. Whoa, don't cut yourself too close, man. Amitha says, bye, DBJ. Love bouncing ideas off you guys at any time, all the time, every time. Bring the love, man, guys. Anyway, so again, Sunday, 7 to 9 a.m. my time. So it's an hour later than this live stream. It is up and public, and I'll be doing it each Sunday from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until I'm finished, or people were just like, dude, that's enough. That's been 400 pages. I'm cool. I won't be going through it slowly, like we're going to read each word, nothing like that. But what the hell is Invisible Sun? That's basically what it is. All the files. It's basically the entire game in a digital format. What a great way to get punched in the face. Go away already. Thank you very much for the super chat, Mythos. We're going to end it on that one. What a great send off, man. I'll see you guys Sunday. Thank you. No, you're not. I am not accepting the fact that you're kidding. Can you delete that message right there? What a great send off. I'm going to pop that out. Wait a minute. I'm going to remove that comment. Bam. There you go. Now take that. Yeah. I love it. Hey, man. Mythos, everybody, have a great day. I'll see you guys Sunday, or probably Monday if you're just catching this on Monday. Everyone have a great one. Mythos, great gaming for you. Again, let me know if you received that box. Janny, everyone, guys, see ya. Bye.